Votes are still being counted in a series of primary elections that could determine who controls Congress next year. 8 states held their primaries yesterday. The most watched is California, which has 12% of all U.S. House seats. Democrats are trying to flip 7 seats there, where voters elected Republicans in 2016, but also preferred Hillary Clinton for president. Meredith Kelly is Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee Communications Director. She joins us now from Washington. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's kick off with California, where, as you know, Democrats are targeting 10 out of 14 Republican districts in the state. Why this focus on a fairly typically blue state?
Well, first of all across the country, Democrats are working to build the largest battlefield in a decade. That's 104 districts so far nationwide and 10 of the 14 Republican districts in California. And last night's results were really exciting. We knew from the beginning that California would be complicated. It would be tough because of the top 2 primary system. And we invested early and are really excited to have strong Democratic candidates in most likely in every single district. We're still counting the votes, but it seems that we will have a Democrat on the ballot and continue this fight in November.
Yeah, you mentioned the difficulty in the way that the California system is set up, and there were some concerns from the party poobahs that might have been a mistake, the strategy that you were employing in California. It ultimately seems to have worked out, but why was that strategy employed in the first place?
Well, I'm not sure exactly which strategy is being criticized because we invested in organizers on the ground. We put an office in Irvine, California in early 2017. We've invested in voter registration, particularly Hispanic voters. And we not only boosted Democrats, but we managed to knock down Republican candidates. And we have ideal Republican nominees to be facing in the general election. Some of their weakest options are on the ballot.
All right, so let's turn to Alabama. As you know, there's an incumbent Congresswoman, Martha Roby, who's now facing a runoff after she was one of the first to withdraw her support for Donald Trump. In the wake of that Access Hollywood tape, she removed her endorsement. But what's so interesting is she's running against a former Democrat who is now a Trump Republican. So how do you see this playing out? Because he was previously in support of House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi.
Well, I think Martha Roby's predicament is a demonstration of the rock and a hard place that many Republican incumbents are in all across the country. If they want to have any chance of winning in November, they need to have the support of President Trump's loyal base, but also appeal to crossover voters in order to get to 50% in these swing and even Republican-leaning districts. And it's not just Martha Roby. Dan Donovan on Staten Island is getting primaried by convict Michael Grimm, and multiple public polls show that Donovan is likely to lose that primary. Robert Pittenger in North Carolina already lost an incumbent down there in a primary a few weeks ago. This is actually a much more notable primary story in terms of inter-party conflict, and I think it's going to help us win back more seats.
All right. In New Jersey, there are 2 Republicans who are retiring from these sort of very rare, very red districts, even though Jersey is a blue state. How do you hope to turn those seats blue?
Sure. There are 5 Republican seats remaining in New Jersey. We are targeting all 5 of those, with 4 that are particularly competitive. Last night's results were overwhelming. Democratic candidates that are on the DCCC's Red to Blue program, which indicates our support, they won with convincing margins all across the state. And that's because they have local support and grassroots support first and foremost. And they really fit their districts. And voters are really excited in New Jersey about the message that Democrats are carrying about fighting for affordable health care, fighting for real middle-class tax reform that doesn't make it harder to own a home, particularly in a state like New Jersey. And that message is resonating, and the results were overwhelming. And again, in a consistent theme, Republicans got some of their least desirable nominees in that state.
Meredith Kelly, always great to have you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.